Welcome back to my channel. My name is Christina, and today we're going to do a reflect back and flip through of the month of January. So here I am in my 2024 Sterling Ink Common Planner, and we're going to start here on the monthly page. So here in the month of January, I am using the January stickers from the Sterling Ink subscription collection, and I started the month on vacation with my family in the Cancun area of Mexico. Because I started the month on vacation, it really disrupted my whole way of planning for January. I didn't get that head start I usually do. But you know what? I'm not complaining that I started the year on vacation. All right, so here is our first week of January, the full spread. And as you can see, it was a pretty busy week. It was the first week of the year, but we also had some unexpected things come up. So first on the left, I have my usual habit trackers where these are the 6 things I've been tracking. And this will evolve throughout the following weeks into February. I did a really good job with my habits around exercise as well as reading and decently with the steps, but there's other areas where I need to improve, like going to bed by 11. I did that once and I did not wake up early at all. So this week started off the first day of January. We went to the ER at night because, as you can see in some of my bullet points in the top, Lewis, my son, has asthma and the nebulizer treatments were not working or they were not as effective. So we decided to take a quick trip to the ER. The quick trip ended up being about 5 hours and we were there so that he could get, higher dosage of steroid treatment to just get his asthma under control. And we really need to do that because we were gearing up for a big vacation at the end of the week. So in addition to my son's asthma treatments, ER visit, we had another doctor's appointment. But like I mentioned, because we're getting ready for our big family vacation, there were a lot of these scrambling moments and errands that we take care of, such as, getting the dog ready to drop off at the dog walker's house, as well as getting my nails done and, just taking care of things. The days leading up to vacation is always the most stressful, isn't it? So once we wrapped everything up at work and at home, on Saturday morning, we headed to the airport and made our way down to Cancun, Mexico. We were going to Cancun mainly for my cousin's wedding, which was going to be the following weekend. But since it was a big family event, my immediate family, my parents and my sister, her boyfriend, and our family decided to make it a bit of a family reunion. So we rented a house together in Akumal, which is a little town between Playa del Carmen and Tulum. And the 6 of us all stayed there together, and it was really delightful. On our first full day in Akumal, we went to K Beach Club, which is right on the shores of Akumal, and spent the whole day there, and it was just very relaxing and wonderful. The second full week of January, we were in Mexico the whole time. As you can see on the left-hand side, my habit tracking really fell off the wagon there, but that's okay because we're on vacation. The first place we visited was Tulum. We first made a quick stop at the bakery for breakfast, and this little truck was a seating area at the bakery. It was so cute. We spent the day at this beach club called Bala Bamba, and I'm so glad it was covered and had delicious food because it was a cold and rainy day, so it ended up working out. Tuesday was a stay-home day for most of the time just to relax, and we had dinner at Junglefish where we ate like 5 lobsters. And then Wednesday was the day we spent at Xcaret. This is like a cultural theme park, and we had so much fun. The park is huge. We spent the whole day just walking around, exploring. There was a lot of ruins, replica of ruins, and this bridge here was one of my favorite parts of the trip. As you can see, the view is amazing, and you were supposed to be able to see some pumas, I think, but they weren't out to play. The evening ended with a cultural show, and you walk right in, and there's the whole cast dressed up as indigenous people, and the show started with this candlelight ceremony, which was just really spectacular, and a lot of games as well as dances throughout the evening. One of my most absolute favorite things to do in the Cancun area is visit cenotes. So on Thursday, we went to a cenote called Jardin de Eden, where I had an opportunity to jump off the cliff into the fresh waters. Friday was checkout day from the Airbnb, and then we drove about an hour and a half and checked into Sandoz in the main strip in Cancun. We were in Cancun for my cousin's wedding, and she was just absolutely beautiful, stunning, and the wedding was just really great. Lewis had a fun time being photographer, and here's a video of my husband and my mom dancing. They're so cute. Sunday, after the wedding, we spent the whole day on a catamaran with the wedding guests and the bride and groom. And that really wrapped up our trip to Mexico. Monday was checkout, and we headed to the airport to head home. We took Lewis out of school for the whole week, so on the plane ride, he did his homework, which was to go and reflect on his trip and share his memories with his classmates. The moment we landed, it was just back to reality. We had to run some errands, pick up the dog, get some food, and it had also just started snowing. It also snowed again later in the week, which led to some snow days. So the moment we come back from vacation, Lewis had a few days of no school or half days. But it was the first snowstorm in about 2 years in our area, so it was exciting. Yeah, and also very beautiful. I started picking up my habit tracking again. I was mildly successful, but I think it's all about just getting back in the groove of capturing those items. Later in the week, we spent some time with friends, so even though it was a snow day on the Friday, it led up so that Saturday night we were able to have dinner. We went to this new Korean barbecue place with two of my friends, and then the following day we hosted brunch for two families where they are neighbors in the same township as us. So it was really wonderful to catch up with them. And then I headed into the city for a book club meeting with my friends where we were talking about the book Rodham, which I had finished right before the trip. So flipping ahead to the following week, my habit tracking did pick up again. As you can see, I woke up early 3 times, and it really wasn't because I was waking up to do anything really productive or self-care, but it was more because I had meetings with customers in Japan. So I was forced to wake up early a few times that week. The week itself looks like it wasn't that busy. I think maybe in my personal life and at home it wasn't as busy, but the work week was intense as I had still a lot of catching up to do and wrapping up the end of the month before leading into our company's kickoff, which was the following week. We ended the week with some basketball. Here's my son just being awesome. I don't know where he gets his love for athletics, but it's definitely not for me. And we ended the day with this epic hot chocolate brunch at Chef Vargas. On Sunday was my last day at home before getting ready for the kickoff, which was the following week. So I spent Sunday packing, and then Monday was the last few days leading up to kickoff. So because I was going to be away majority of that week, you can see my habit tracking was basically non-existent for that week.
So for second grade, we are so excited. Up first, our student of the month in Miss Cole's room is Lewis Lipsky. Lewis, bringing the boys up. Lewis.
On January 31st, my son was crowned Student of the Month for second grade, and unfortunately I had to miss it because I was in Orlando. I started off that week feeling a little bit sick, and then I got on a flight to my annual company's kickoff, which was in Orlando. On later that week, on Friday, Lewis and Ellie were going to meet me because we were going to spend the first weekend in February at Universal Studios. So that wraps up the weekly spreads. Let's jump into my dailies. So I love this January dashboard. I think I mentioned it a number of times, but the Sterling Inc. monthly subscriptions, I think this page is one of my absolute favorites and the reason why I keep going back. Every month, I like to do a bit of a snapshot of the month where I track what I'm watching, what I'm reading, just some highlights, and set some goals. So in terms of reading, I've read a lot of books in the month of January. I think I had some books already in queue that was just wrapping up. The first book I read was The Year of Living Biblically, which I finished while I was on vacation, and a hilarious book. Don't let the title fool you, but it was hilarious and I highly recommend. The second book is a young adult book called We Were Liars. Really great mystery with a nice twist at the end. Kicked off a few new books, which I didn't finish in the month of January. wrapped up the first Harry Potter book, which our family was reading together. The last book I read was a book called The Terrorist's Son, written by Zach Abraham, and it was based on his TED Talk when he found out his father was one of the terrorists behind the first World Trade Center bombing. Interesting book. All right, so in terms of goals, I did the Crush Your Core, which is part of Peloton number 2, and I planned to do 10 workouts, and I did 12. I watched a lot of interesting shows and movies that month. We wrapped up Singles Inferno Season 3. I watched Good Grief, as well as May, December, and Leave the World Behind during my trips and my flights. Excellent movies. May, December, I'm not really quite sure about it. Super Pumped is the show about Travis Kalanick and Uber with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, which I love him, and the show was great. I also finished watching the first season of The Brother's Son. This is, I want to say, a Netflix show with Michelle Yeoh. Really well done, really great. And then because we finished Harry Potter, the first book, we watched the Harry Potter movie with Lewis to get him ready for Universal Studios. And then I also started watching and finished later in February all 4 seasons of For All Mankind, which is about space travel, alternate reality on Apple TV. So moving on to my dailies, I didn't journal as much as I'd like, but I did get a chance to journal while I was on vacation. So like I mentioned, that first day in January, that evening we ended up at the ER with Lewis. Because he had really bad asthma and we were going on a trip, we just wanted to be mindful of that. And it was a bit stressful, but we knew we had to get it done. So here's a quick video of him in the room in the ER. He was in such great spirits, even though he couldn't stop coughing from his asthma. But as you can see, he was in pretty good spirits. We read a lot. We hung out together as a family, even though it was probably around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe by the time we got home. And here I am just so exhausted, but trying to not worry and just be patient in the ER. Because my week was so busy leading up to this family trip, I think about a day before I left, I had to sit down and make a list of everything I wanted to do while we were in Mexico, as well as a full packing trip and like a quick agenda or itinerary for the trip. This list you see here on the right, we actually didn't do a lot of it. Didn't get a chance to snorkel with the turtles, but that's okay. But you know what? All that planning, it really doesn't matter because the whole point of the trip was to spend some quality time with the family. We had quite a few adventures while we were in Mexico. And just to kind of give you an idea, on one of our last nights in the Airbnb, we had new neighbors checking in the middle of the night, and they came into the wrong house because one of the locks was broken and essentially broke into our Airbnb and came into our bedroom and scared the crap out of our family. So this here is a little candle holder. I thought she was so cute, and she held the candle that everybody had lit for the first candlelight ceremony as part of the evening event at Xcaret. So I thought she was a really cute keepsake. On the bottom here are just some photos I printed out, just some memories from the wedding weekend in Mexico. This little key fob here is a piece of the bracelet that all the guests at the resort wore, and it actually was able to open your room, and it informed the staff if you're a VIP or not. Red does not mean you're a VIP. I was not VIP. And then on my flight home, I took some notes of shopping I needed to do, and also a few notes on the 2 movies that I saw on the plane. And on the bottom is a picture of my dog, Una. My husband took this photo for me while he was dropping her off on the way to the groomers. She's just so fluffy and cute. And that's it. That wraps up the month of January. The last 2 entries here was mainly just a brain dump of grocery lists and things I needed to do before heading out and starting the month of February. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment what you thought of this format, and would love to hear from you and hear about your January. I hope all is well, and thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.